Pokemon Go was nothing less than a phenomenon when it was released back in the summer of 2016. Literally perfectly lining up with a great time to release a go outside and play type game. We're talking like summertime. This was released in 2016. Like, it was, the conditions were pretty much perfect for this game, and it shows with just how much of a phenomenon this game became. People who didn't play Pokemon were playing this game. People who hadn't played Pokemon in decades were coming back to play this game, because it was really the most accessible Pokemon game. It was the first real Pokemon game on something that was not a Nintendo console that actually thrived. Pokemon Go, just all you had to do was take 2 seconds to download it on your phone, and then boom, that was it. And the concept was simple enough for anyone to grasp. You just throw your Pokeball, you're swiping, and then when you go into a raid battle, you tap on it, right? And then, the idea is the more Pokemon you catch, the stronger you can make your Pokemon, and also that's how you evolve Pokemon. So it really incentivizes literally just going out there and catching, spinning the Pokestops to get more items. And another big thing about Pokemon Go is that really you could go into it without spending any money. You could literally pay Pokemon Go for free and not really need to spend money. The main thing people were spending money on at the beginning of the Pokemon Go was the bag storage, needing to increase bag and item storage, because you'll run out of item storage really quickly, which I guess the game does have to monetize in some way, so I'm not even that upset about it. But it was really like you could vibe with the game and like have a good time without even spending a single cent on the game, which allowed it to really thrive back in 2016 when this came out. 2016 was really, I gotta say, a good year for I guess mobile pushes in general. Like, YouTube was popping off. I feel like that was one of my favorite eras of YouTube. 2016, 2017 YouTube, that you just had to be around, because I believe Jacksepticeye, I remember when Jacksepticeye had his hair dyed to green. I believe that was 2016. Don't quote me on it, but 2016 was memorable for me in terms of just content on YouTube and everything. It was fire. So as I'm talking all these good things about Pokemon Go, as you saw in the title, I said Pokemon Go from success to essentially irrelevant. Pokemon Go really, it had all the things it needed to pop off at the beginning, but the unfortunate part is that the updates that it got were not as sustainable as you would think. It had the tools to be sustainable, but it really just took too long, to the point where some of the new features that have come out would have been amazing if they came out alongside Pokemon Go at the beginning, right? So the main way in Pokemon Go you'd work with other people is in raids to take down other Pokemon, right? Which was a good feature. And so the first main new feature that they added was to get the legendary Pokemon, the legendary birds, right? And that was the first big new raid event that you could do. And that was to incentivize. That was like the first big new feature, I gotta say. Eggs have always been there, right? But this was the main new feature, right? And the thing about it is it was cool, but the main problem with Pokemon Go is that it took really 2 years for them to add trading, and then it took them 2 years to add trading and battling, right? Two of the main features of Pokemon in general did not get added until 2018. So trading in Pokemon Go between friends came out in summer of 2018, and then battling came out in December of 2018. This was the year that Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu came out as well. So this was I guess that's why they wanted to try. Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee were meant to capitalize on the Pokemon Go audience. But the thing is, though, was that I think it was a little too late. I think battling and trading should have came out a lot sooner, just because it would incentivize people to want to go and get these rarer Pokemon. They did introduce Generation 2 Pokemon later in in late 2016, but mainly early 2017 is when we started getting some of the Johto Pokemon, and it became a thing to add new Pokemon every year, which is solid. At the end of every year, which is solid, because you can expect new Pokemon from new generation to be added. But the only problem with that is that has really became the main new push in Pokemon Go, is the new Pokemon, right? And that really, I don't think that's that sustainable. I guess it is a easier way to get some mythicals and stuff like that, but really, Pokemon Go needed to release the trading features and battling features a lot earlier than they did, because that was the main thing that was missing. I kid you not, I got into an argument with my cousins about who had the stronger Pokemon, and we wanted to run the set right there, but unfortunately we weren't able to, because this was 2016. But anyway, but the other thing is that Pokemon Go really is starting to become, it's still popular, but it's popular within Pokemon fans only. It's still making a lot of money, and it still gets successful in a way. But it's not, when Pokemon Go was first big, it was big because it was like people who didn't even know Pokemon or cared about Pokemon were playing it. But now it's pretty much devolved into just the Pokemon player base. And it really, it was such a cultural thing, right? And everyone was playing it. People were repping their teams. Oh my god, I'm hashtag Team Mystic forever and always. But, Pokemon Go also has the privilege of pretty much being, it's going to be the Pokemon game that has the most catchable Pokemon. It already has the most, because it has 786 Pokemon as of the recording of this video that are obtainable. And there's some Pokemon from previous generations that aren't even obtainable yet. I think, what's it called? Zygarde and Arceus, those aren't obtainable, but obviously those are going to come at some point with some events. But, really, the second push of Pokemon Go that got it a lot of attention recently, I gotta say, was during the pandemic. They did a thing where you could get remote raid passes, and it made raids still accessible but socially distanced. Because in the pandemic, really, Pokemon Go, you couldn't go outside and play it because you didn't want to COVID, but you could easily remote raid passes and things like that, and that garnered a lot of respect for Pokemon Go, because not only did it allow people to do things from home, but it just made the game accessible to those who are kind of mobility challenged, right? Because not everybody, unfortunately, is able to walk and stuff like that. Not everyone is able to take full advantage of Pokemon Go mobily, and so remote raid passes really helped out. But Pokemon Go has been making some crazy changes, in the past, following the pandemic. So, they started lowering the distance because initially what they did is they increased the radius that you could use for raid passes, which allowed, if you were just a little close to the place but you wanted to stay some distance, you could still use your raid pass. But then they started, making some changes to make the game inaccessible, which is if people loved these changes, why do you gotta remove them? And then not only that, the most recent drama with Pokemon Go is that they are increasing the prices of these remote raid passes, which made raids accessible to everybody. It's kind of crazy. I mean, personally, I think they could have just made one raid pass and made, I don't know why you have to have two, one remote, one not. I guess maybe make it to where if you use a raid pass and you're next to the place, make it give you more bonuses. But there's essentially two passes, and they're making the remote passes even more inaccessible for those who need it, right? So they're increasing the prices and things like that. And Pokemon Go has just had a lot of negative drama over the past few years, and it's crazy, because it's such a great concept and really could continue to thrive if they had just taken another direction. I think if battles and trades were in the game at the at least maybe a month or so after release, or I'd say 2 years after, that's still kind of that's really, I would say that's not that far away when you talk about normal games. But the thing about mobile games is that they're always updating. You can't expect a DLC or part 2 of a game, a sequel to a game. I guess maybe you could wait a couple years on that. But when we're talking to mobile games, trends do not have 2-year lifespans, and so you need to be making sure the game is always being updated. I guess something like Fortnite's a good example. Now, well, Fortnite's been doing bad with updates, but still they always keep that game popping. Because if Fortnite was we're not gonna add I don't know, something for 2 years. Imagine if they didn't add like any updates to Fortnite for like 2 years. Like, that'd be kind of crazy. Now, I get that's kind of different, but the thing is that Fortnite is always updating, and with Pokemon Go, you gotta keep it updated if you want to keep the base. And Pokemon wasn't able to do that, really, I don't think. And if anything, now they're starting to get people more upset as, please hear us Niantic is like trending on Twitter, which is wild. It's wild that, Pokemon Go was such a great was such a cultural thing. It was such a you just had to be there in 2016 for Pokemon Go. It was such a huge culture shock, and then to have it kind of like become what it is now, it's shocking. I mean, I don't play Pokemon Go as much as I used to. I usually have like month spurts where I'll go on a Pokemon Go binge for like a few months, and then I'll stop. But really, I haven't played Pokemon Go intently in like at least maybe a year and a half at this point. And I want Pokemon Go to have a resurgence. But the thing about it is it's become kind of stale to where all we can really expect is maybe new Pokemon added, either A, if there's a new Pokemon game, or B, it's sort of the end of the year. They sometimes do updates when there's like a Pokemon Presents, but it's really, you only really see big Go things 2 to 3 times a year. Like, the big thing is community days, but could you imagine like if they had community days like literally when the game first started, and then shinies weren't even added until I believe 2017, a little later. I think shinies should have been available off the bat, because then that would have made it real cool. At least people would be like, oh, look at this, look at my shiny Pidgey, because most people probably have a shiny Pidgey at the beginning. But like, there were a lot of features that were added to Pokemon Go that I think if it was like I think all the features in Pokemon Go that were like big, like we're talking shinies, battles, and trades, I think those should have been rolled out. At least they could have had like a map or like an update time, you can expect battles by this month, you can expect trades by this month, and have it updated so people be like, hey, yo, in a couple months or a couple weeks I can get trades. That would have kept a lot of people into Pokemon Go. But Pokemon Go has always been profitable, and it's still profitable, but I just wish it was able to continue to thrive. But unfortunately, it's pretty mainstream irrelevant now. Like I said, Pokemon fans will always remember Pokemon Go, but like the mainstream people will probably only be like, oh yeah, I downloaded it in 2016 and then I undownloaded it. Like, it's rare to see people who aren't into Pokemon that still play Pokemon Go. But regardless, Pokemon Go definitely had its stand and mark on pop culture back in 2016. And so yeah, thank you for watching this episode of Based Flame. Thank y'all for the support on these videos. I am trying to move to more of a podcast style type content where I just talk about whatever I feel like. So let me some suggestions what you want me to talk about. I want to do a video on the Mario movie, but I have not seen it yet. I plan to see it tomorrow or this weekend, but as soon as I see that movie, best believe we're gonna be doing a review on that joint. But anyway, thank y'all for watching this episode, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.